Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting straight into the UK weather. And, well, it's a fascinating and frankly pretty volatile situation we're looking at.
It certainly is a very active period.
Our mission today is to really unpack not just what is happening, but why it's so complicated. We're synthesizing everything from Met Office reports to the big global models.
Mm,
And they're painting two very different pictures, aren't they? We've got the immediate hazards ice, frost this weekend,
right.
and then this knife edge scenario for the coming week, which could be anything from a bit of slush to a major snow event.
That's the perfect description for it. And to get why, you have to look north. What's happening is really a textbook example of a deep winter setup. We've got a powerful northerly airflow,
So proper Arctic air.
proper Arctic and polar air flooding right down across the country. It's all because of a huge, stubborn area of high pressure.
The blocking high.
The blocking high, exactly. It's sitting over Greenland and Iceland, and it's acting like a massive roadblock in the atmosphere. It forces the jet stream, which normally keeps us mild, to dive way south.
And that just opens the floodgates for the cold.
It does. And with a low pressure trough over in the Baltic Sea, it just reinforces that frigid push. So pretty much everyone is locked into these bitter, below average temperatures.
Okay, let's unpack those immediate conditions then for this weekend. Because anyone who's been outside will know what we mean. The forecasts are full of phrases like perishingly cold and bitterly cold night. This isn't just a bit chilly, is it?
No, not at all. This is the kind of cold that has real impacts. The temperatures forecast for overnight into Sunday are, well, they're brutal.
The lowest we've seen so far this winter.
By some margin, we're looking at -2 to -5 Celsius for many places.
Wow.
But in the countryside, especially where there's already snow on the ground,
Which reflects the heat back out.
exactly. In those spots, we could easily see it plummet to -7, -8, maybe even -10 Celsius.
-10. That's more than just an inconvenience. That's when you start worrying about things like pipes, car batteries.
Absolutely. And just walking on an ungridded pavement becomes a genuine risk.
And the Met Office seems to be taking this very seriously with the warnings.
They are. The yellow and amber warnings are being updated constantly, particularly for northern and eastern Scotland. When you see those amber warnings go out, it suggests they're leaning towards caution because the potential for some really severe local impacts is just so high.
And it's not just the cold, we're seeing active precipitation as well.
We are. There are frequent heavy snow showers piling into northern Scotland. That could lead to genuine blizzard conditions and significant drifting of snow.
But it's not just confined to the far north.
No, the air is unstable. So we're seeing sleet and snow showers pop up in Northern Ireland, parts of Western Wales, the West Country, and even tracking down the east coast of England. There are reports of snow settling on beaches.
Right. So for Saturday and Sunday, the general feel is just struggling temperatures. Some parts of Scotland might not get above freezing all day.
And elsewhere, maybe 1 to 4 Celsius at best.
And yet, and this is the really interesting part, many of us, especially through the central spine of the country, might look out the window and see crisp winter sunshine. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because that sunshine is, in a way, a deception. It's not a sign that the danger is easing.
It's actually the opposite. It leads directly to one of the biggest hazards.
The refreeze.
The refreeze. This is the one thing everyone needs to understand for the next few days. The sun might be strong enough to melt a thin layer of ice or snow during the day.
So the roads look wet, maybe a bit slushy.
Exactly. But the crucial thing is the ground underneath is frozen, absolutely solid.
I see.
So as soon as that sun begins to dip, around 3:30, 4 o'clock,
The temperature plummets again.
and that surface moisture refreezes, and it happens incredibly quickly. We're talking maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
And that's when you get black ice.
The worst kind. It's thin, it's transparent, and it's almost impossible to spot if you're driving or walking. It makes conditions far more treacherous.
So a wet road in the late afternoon is basically a warning sign.
It's a time bomb. Don't be fooled by the bright spells. The hazard spikes severely right at dusk.
Which means another bitterly cold night into Monday morning with icy stretches for the commute back to work and school.
Yes, with temperatures once again down to -5 or even that -10 figure in the coldest spots.
Okay, so that sets the immediate scene. But let's look beyond Monday. This is where the forecast gets almost anxiety-inducing for forecasters.
It really is.
We have this cold air locked in place, but the Atlantic, that mild, moist air is trying to push back in. It's a proper battle of air masses.
It is the definition of a knife edge forecast. And it's the hardest thing for a UK forecaster to get right.
Why is that?
Because you have this dense, heavy, established Arctic air that doesn't want to move. And it's meeting milder, moisture-laden air from the west. That collision is guaranteed to produce a lot of precipitation. That's the certain part.
Right.
The uncertain part, the really marginal call, is what type of precipitation it will be. Rain, sleet, or heavy snow.
And the models are really struggling with two main events next week.
They are. First up, on Tuesday into Wednesday, there's a smaller disturbance, a developing low that's set to push southwards.
And that one looks like snow.
The current thinking is that it will bring more substantial snow, particularly across central areas, or risk of some significant accumulations there.
And then there's the big one.
Yes. The second system, a potentially larger, more organized storm, is forecast to arrive around Thursday or Friday. And some of the models for that, like the American GFS model, have been showing what you might call box office scenarios.
Complete blizzards.
Complete blizzards across large parts of England and Wales, highly disruptive amounts of snow.
And when we talk about this being on a knife edge, the margin for error is tiny, isn't it?
It's minuscule.
Yeah.
The difference between getting, say, 5 to 10 centimeters of heavy disruptive snow
Right.
and getting just 1 or 2 centimeters of slushy rain before it all clears away
Yeah.
is literally a 1 or 2 degree shift in the temperature profile,
A single degree.
or the precise positioning of what we call a milder wedge of air.
Okay, explain the milder wedge for us. What is that?
It's sometimes called a warm nose. It's basically a small layer of slightly warmer Atlantic air that tries to sneak into the system, often a few thousand feet out.
And if that pushes in,
If that wedge pushes just a little bit too far east, it melts the snowflakes on their way down. It effectively turns the snow machine off and turns it into rain.
so that's the battle happening inside the computer models right now.
It's the core argument. It's why the models are showing such different things.
And it's why forecasters are saying they have no full answers yet.
Exactly. We've seen huge volatility. The UK model and the European model, the ECMWF, often run a bit cooler. But then you have the GFS, the American one, which has been going for these huge snow events.
And then other models show something completely different.
Right. The German model, for instance, showed mainly a rain event for that same Thursday system. It just depends on the exact track of that low pressure center.
So a shift of just 50 miles could change everything for millions of people.
That's it. It could be the difference between a snow day and just a wet, cold day.
But there is one thing all the models agree on.
Yes, and it's crucial. Whatever happens with the rain-snow line, it is staying very cold at the surface. The ground is frozen solid. So even if we do get a burst of rain, that threat of it rapidly refreezing into black ice remains paramount.
Okay, so if the midweek is this atmospheric knife fight, what about the longer term? How long is this cold spell actually going to last?
To answer that, we have to look at the ensemble guidance. This is where the models run dozens of different possibilities to get a better idea of probability.
And what are they suggesting?
Both the main ensembles, the GFS and the ECMWF, are strongly suggesting this cold pattern is persistent. They're really struggling to break down that blocking high over Greenland.
So the cold is locked in?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The guidance suggests it's going to hold on well into the middle of January, potentially until around the 13th to the 15th of the month,
Wow, so nearly 2 more weeks of this?
before we see what they're calling a slow breakout back towards more average conditions.
So the overall feeling is that the next week or so is just frigid for the foreseeable future. High potential for wintry conditions everywhere.
I would add a note of caution for the far south and southwest, though.
Right, because they're closest to the Atlantic.
Exactly. For those areas, the picture could be particularly messy. A really difficult to forecast mix of rain, sleet, and snow. Highly variable from day to day.
Okay, so let's summarize the key takeaways for you heading into this extremely complex week. First, the extreme cold is guaranteed. Be vigilant with things like pikes and, of course, road conditions.
Second, travel disruption is highly likely from ice and snow showers, especially further north.
And maybe the most important point,
Remember that refreezing cycle. Don't be fooled by any afternoon sunshine. Watch out for that flash freeze in the evening. Wet surfaces can turn to invisible black ice in minutes.
so the advice for the week ahead is to stay right up to date with the Met Office warnings.
You have to. The details for your specific area, that exact location of the rain-snow line, will change. and it could change very rapidly.
And that leaves us with a final thought to mull over. You now understand that a single degree Celsius, or a tiny shift in a storm's track that moves that milder wedge, is the entire difference between a major disruptive snowfall and just a period of cold, heavy rain. How much does that knowledge that we are living on a true atmospheric knife edge change how you view a simple one-week weather forecast? Something to think about as you wrap up warm. Until next time.